ladies and gentlefolk, it was due to happen eventually, and it had to be this game. Of all the games where we finally concede a goal and lose the match, it had to be the one game that has probably the most negative energy surrounding it at this moment in time. But I'll discuss a bit more about that a little bit later. So as you all know, as you can tell by the title, if you was there or if you're following the championship, whatever, North End played Birmingham today, and it was a fixture where we were the favourites to win, and that only means one thing: we are going to lose. In a game where we are usually the favourites to win, we do not tend to win those games. So that's unfortunate. It was bound to happen eventually. We were due to concede a goal eventually, so we'll talk about the stats first, and then I'll talk about my breakdowns, because I think the breakdown might need a bit more time, because I've got a few things I want to mention this time around, and I'll link that into everything else. So to begin with, I'm just getting my notes up, excuse me. To begin with, we had the 10 shots and 3 on target. They had an equal amount on target, but they took less shots. And we had the most possession in this game, was quite dominant in the possession as a matter of fact. So the fact that they were able to get 8 shots off, 3 on target and a goal, that's a bit worrying. Because our defence, we used Ryan Law's brick wall, didn't seem to be much of a brick wall. No, they were still fantastic today, the defence. They did really well. They did the jobs in the times they needed to do the job. The goal was just unfortunate, if anything. I think it was something that could have easily been saved, but I don't think Woodman was all there at that moment in time. So that's unfortunate. But for the majority of the match, we were quite dominant. We were the more dominant side, which is why we are the favourites to win, and etc. Whatever else. But it's just getting that shot off and getting it in the back of the net. We're not very good at doing that, and we're still not good at doing it. It's a massive shame, really, but what can we do about it? We'll go to SofaScore. We'll get these ratings up really quickly. Should have done this in advance, but I forgot. Birmingham. We'll look at the lineup. Oh, there thought it froze them. Lineup. So we made some changes again. Reese is starting the match this time, which is good. Alan Brown is in the midfield, which is not fantastic necessarily. Hughes is still injured, but at least McCann's starting. That's a good sign, I suppose, but I'd rather have Ledson there instead of Brown. Oh, excuse me. Just eaten. So if we take a look at our ratings, our highest rated player, according to SofaScore, was Brady. And I really don't understand how I don't understand how SofaScore calculates its ratings. I don't get how they calculate these things, because personally I don't necessarily agree with Brady being our top player of the match. I'd say he's around there, but definitely not. And the reason why I think SofaScore's ratings can be a bit off at times, even though I do trust this website, is the fact that Greg Cunningham has a 6.8, which is level with Jordan Story, Alan Brown, and it's higher than both Reese and Potts. That's ridiculous, because Cunningham was probably the worst player on that pitch all match, I think. So I don't know how that's been calculated, because he lost possession so many times, and the passes he made were terrible. He never really made many great passes, I don't think, so don't know what that's about. But I'll leave that there for you guys to look at, and whatever else. I'm not going to bother clicking everyone's individual things, apart from Parrott, actually. Let me look at Parrott and Reese. Reese, Parrott, both played 90 minutes. Oh, sorry, Parrott got subbed off. Obviously no goals. Reese had a shot on target, and 1 off target, and 1 blocked. Parrott had none on target, 1 off target, and then 2 blocked. Reese made dribble attempts, he did not. Reese had more touches. Reese was not as accurate as Parrott, but he had less to work with. Made a key pass, 2 crosses. Obviously non-accurate. Got involved in more duels, lost possession more times. So while Reese was more accurate in his attacking play, he wasn't as great in his midfieldish play. And that's what I said from week 2, that Parrott plays really well as a centre forward, not a striker. So maybe if we can adjust that around, maybe I don't know. But anyways, I'll read about my breakdowns, and then there's a few things I want to mention. So we played a better lineup this time around, and I'll say this as well. I didn't write this during the match. I wrote this after the match, because I was more focused on making sure my brother was all right and everything, because we took him on this match. We played a better lineup this time, but it was strange to see Brown in the starting lineup. The first half wasn't good at all. Cunningham was shocking in his possession and his passing. We made a few runs and a few decent efforts were had. The referee was very frustrating at times. More on him later. We conceded quite early and it was a goal that maybe could have been stopped with a catch, but I'm not too sure. I'll have to watch it back first. The game plan completely fell through as soon as we conceded, and the first half was just defend, defend, defend. The second half we came out faster with more purpose and more intent. You could tell there was a desire, but that desire was there for everyone. But it soon stopped as Birmingham then began to slow down completely and waste so much time. And that is usually what happens when you're a travelling side. You like to waste time. We're terrible for it, but obviously, when you're in someone else's shoes, let's say this was the opposite way around, I can see why the players and the fans would be really frustrated. It just makes so much sense to be frustrated because that's how we were, and especially our players as well. It didn't help that the ref made most of his decisions to go in Birmingham's favour, even though they were most definitely in our favour. What are you doing?
I'm in a video.
Alright, well you don't have to get in my face like that. Parrott was on for a great chance at one point. Mason, I'm trying to read. Parrott was on for a great chance at one point, but he absolutely bottled it. And then Brady needs to pass the ball more, like in between legs, and just make simple passes rather than play that ball or that cross upwards. He favours the cross all the time, and it just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. When there's easier options, he'll always choose the hardest option and cross. I don't know if he's being told to cross, don't do anything else, but it makes no sense. Now, there's a few things I need to bring up that have been plaguing me for a while, and some things regarding today and the state of North End currently. So I'll go to full screen for this, I suppose. So, essentially, the first issue to mention was this referee. Actually, no, let's go back to screen view. I'm going to Google this referee. I'm pretty sure his name is James Bell. James Bell. Oh, God. Bell referee. James Bell End. There we go. Games by James Bell this year. He's done 4 games. Excluding ours, he's done 3 games. And that was Blackburn and Hartlepool in the EFL Cup, West Brom and Hull, and Wigan and Burnley. Choosing the season, let's say last season. He did a lot more, but there was all League 1 and League 2 games. This is his first season in this league. I don't know if there's any favouritism towards any sort of club or anything like any region of the United Kingdom that he favours. But I really do not see that referee having much of a favouritism towards Preston, and he really is having some form of bias towards Birmingham, because there were plenty of times where we got dragged to the floor with a shirt pull or a foul, and he just said play on. But then we would win the ball 9 times out of 10, or just commit a light foul with a player absolutely milking it and going down, which they did plenty of times, and the foul would be given. It's lucky we only had 1 booking that whole match, but they had 3 bookings for time wasting, which speaks for itself. What I mean about the frustration that's coming from this game. It's obviously not ideal, and this referee's an arsehole, James Bellend. Can I do that inspect the page thing really quickly, just for a bit of humour, because I can't be bothered to edit it in instead. I'll do it the quick way. Where is it? James Bell. And if I can spell, that would be nice. Fine. There we go, James Bellend. That's what he's going to be called for now. So James Bellend, yeah, I'm not keen on this referee whatsoever, and I really hope he doesn't return to Deepdale for any further fixtures, because today really did my nutting. As for other things that happened today, there was a bit of a row or a fight. I don't know what it was at the top left of the town end. And it happened not long after we conceded. Apparently someone was getting really rowdy, probably because we conceded or something regarding said issue, but it got really rowdy. People got involved. There were a mother and a child up there, and the stewards got involved, but then the stewards were reportedly being extremely heavy-handed with everybody, and that caused everyone to subsequently sing songs about getting sacked. So, of course, you shouldn't be making a row or a fuss or disturbing people's enjoyment of said game, even though you've gone 1-0 down. That's the sport. It happens. We all get frustrated, but Jesus Christ, calm down. We're on too many Fosters, pal. But the stewards being heavy-handed, that's a complete other issue, because that's got nothing to do with the fan. That caused the issue. That's the steward's fault for thinking they've got X amount of authority and they can do this and they can do that, because that's not on. No matter what's going on, if there's a fight, fair enough, but there was no fight. It was just verbal. Everything was verbal and rowdy and shouty, so I've no idea. But it's embarrassing, really. It really is embarrassing, so I hope that doesn't continue. And then, completely unrelated to today's match, is two other issues, and that being the transfer window finishing and what's going on with the club and tickets. So we'll start with the transfer market. Obviously, we know the deadline for the transfer was 2 days ago at the time of the recording, and we didn't bring in any more players than what we brought in. We didn't get another striker. We didn't get that right wing back. And the thing that really annoys me is players that we were linked with. Obviously, I'm going to use this example. I don't know if the board ever wanted him back, or if Ryan wanted him, but we're going to use this example anyway because of how much he was linked to us. Of course, I'm talking about Callum Robinson, CR7. We was linked with Callum Robinson for basically all of the summer window from May up until September. So this was going on for a while. I don't know if Robbo overheard the conversation. I know Ryan and Steve Bruce did. They both made their own comments. I don't know about Riddler, but obviously a few things were talked about and saying I need to respect that Robbo is his player and this and that and whatnot. But it can't be a case of Cardiff. That West Brom don't want to let him go because he's the player. And it's just that we didn't put an offer in, and if we did put an offer in, it can't have been substantial because Cardiff only signed him for 1.5 million. That's atrocious. 1.5 million deal? Are you kidding me? Callum Robinson. I mean, I don't know if Robbo's past his prime. I'd imagine he's around that area, just fading out maybe, but even still, Robbo's a clinical finisher who's scored goals every season. He will always score goals, and that's what we need. We need a goal scorer because Reece is still warming up. Parrott is... I don't know what's going on with Parrott, but it's not good. And then Evans just doesn't seem to be all there. Maguire's still injured, and Maguire doesn't score goals anyway, so we don't exactly have a clinical striker. We have forwards options, but we don't have that clinical finisher, and that is what we need, and Robbo is one of them. It's a shame that we had to let him go in the first place, but 1.5 million at Cardiff, we could have matched that. I'm not being funny. How much? I know they're not telling us how much they signed Woodman for because there'll be a bit of an outrage maybe. But come on, Peter Ridsdale, tell us how much was Woodman, Freddie Woodman? How much was the new keeper? How much was he? Because the entire thing, the whole time, was it's an undisclosed fee. I wonder why. Either because it's dirt cheap or because it's a stupid price that we're not going to agree with. And I don't care if he's kept 7 clean sheets or he's done this or he's done that, because don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic keeper. But if we've blown basically all our transfer money on a keeper, that's ridiculous. Because if we would have paid a fair price for Woodman, and then the rest of the players we got in as well, that would have left us with a decent amount of money left for maybe another striker, that right wing back, potentially Cameron Archer, etc. So I don't know what the crack is. I don't know what's going on, but we lost an opportunity to sign Robbo, which I'm not massively upset about because, like I said, Robbo's already been with us in the past and he's had his time at North End. If he wants to come back, he could come back. That's his decision. But Robbo's not the only striker in the league or in any other league for that matter. There's plenty of other options out there. Go abroad if you have to. There's plenty of options. But the fact that a player we was linked with, but like I said, I can only put it so far as to, was we ever in the race to sign Robinson, or did we ever put an offer in? I can only put it down to that because I don't know. But if we was, then we was beat incredibly easily, I think, because I do think Cardiff has underpaid a little bit. I'd value him a bit higher than 1.5 million personally if we're valuing Reece at 10 million. I know 20 goals is a lot of goals, but come on. And then for our other issue as well that I want to bring up is the supporters and the misuse of tickets, and that resulted in what happened today, I believe. So if you don't know, it was announced that the club has clocked that people have been underpaying for tickets by purchasing under 11s rather than adult prices, which of course is a massive money saver, but it's at the same time we are robbing the club blind of money that we should owe them that they can then put back into the club. So it's our own fault at the same why we can't bring any more players in, because we don't provide the club with enough revenue to begin with, because we're all cheapskates. But at the same time, we are in a cost of living crisis and not a lot of people can afford these tickets, which is why of course you should say you should have bought a season ticket, but not everybody again can do that. even if you can pay in instalments. Not a lot of people feel comfortable doing that. So obviously the price problem, it's got nothing to do with North End. The inflation has nothing to do with Preston, and they can't control the inflation. But of course we gave away dirt cheap season tickets. We're going to have to put the price up on matchday tickets. I can see why people would want to underpay, but because they've clocked on it, they've now introduced an under 11s only turnstile, which if you are a genuine under 11, you have to go that way with anyone that's accompanying you. If you try and go through another turnstile as an under 11, then that will flag up, and if you get caught going through an adult turnstile with an under 11 ticket, then it'll be flagged. Your card or your ticket will be removed, and you'll be written to by the club with further action discussed. Or if you try and get onto the match with a ticket that's not valid, for example, because I noticed today that every ticket, or as many tickets as possible, got checked by turnstile stewards. So they're really cracking down on people robbing the money from the club, which is a good thing, but at the same time, like I said, cost of living crisis, this is only going to bring the attendance down. And today was the first sign, because we was averaging around 4,200 between 4,900 home fans per game this season so far. It was in that margin. Today we had 4,025 14,000, not 4,000, 14,025 home fans today, which means we only had about how many walk-ins would that be? Probably only about 500 or below walk-ins, which is not a lot. So that really does say a lot about how the attendance is going to drop. I mean, the atmosphere didn't actually, considering we were losing, the atmosphere still felt really good. It didn't feel like we was missing anything. But at the same time, if that's going to continue to decrease, then we're not going to be able to get Deepdale rocking in it and whatnot. I mean, we've already got more fans coming on than before. But then, if people are going on with false season tickets that haven't been caught yet, that's just going to keep dropping, and that's just going to get the attendance even lower and whatnot. It's all shambles. It's a complete shambles. It shouldn't have been like this in the first place. That is a fair criticism, but yeah, it's just been a very depressing week for Preston past the midweek match, because of course we picked up 3 points midweek, but everything else has not exactly been pleasant for us this week. So we'll take a quick look at the table and then we'll wrap up. So now Norwich sit at number 1 with 5 games. The last 5 games having won with 16 points. For the last, they've won the last 5 games. Sheffield is still second, with Bristol now at third, who we play at the weekend, and then Burnley. So we play 2 playoff teams back to back, which is not fun.
And we play as Burnley next week, do we?
Yeah. So we're finally seeing more green on our sheet of victories and whatnot, but at the same time we've now had a red creep up. But if you take a look at the points, we are sitting comfortably on 11 points next to Hull and QPR and Sunderland, the only difference being the goals, because we can't score a goal. Obviously we would have been on 2, so we would have been actually in 9th place, but we conceded today. Forget about Rotherham. So of course we're not down here such as Birmingham is, because they picked up 3 points today, which would have put them quite high up actually. But if we picked up those 3 points today, that would have brought us to 14 points, and we would have actually been sitting at 4th place, which is ridiculous to say the least. So we've just missed out on a big table jump because we couldn't score any goals. But at the same time, if we didn't win at Coventry, we would now be sitting at 13th, because we would have only brought we would have brought 1 point in, should say. Oh no, sorry, ignore me. That's if we drew Coventry and we drew today. If we kept up, like, let's say the 0-0, if that kept up, we would have been 13th. If we lost at Coventry and we lost today, we'd actually be 18th, right? Just 1 spot above Blackpool. So it's still decent that we're sitting above the top half of the table, or should I say in the top half of the table, and a few places below playoff position. However, based on how many chances we've created so far this season, we could very easily be sitting at the top of the table or very close to the top. We could be in the top 3 very, very easily. And if we would have had that clinical striker, or our strikers start to wake up going forward, then we can genuinely contend for instant promotion this season. And if not, we'll be at the top end of the playoffs. So As soon as we sort our shit out, that's it. We're basically at the top of the table. The only problem is we can't sort our shit out. We can't score a goal, and that's what wins you a game. Everything else is so influential, but scoring a goal at the end of the day wins a game. So it needs to get sorted ASAP. Otherwise, we've got major problems going forward, unfortunately. You right? Just so you know, being a Dragon Ball fan and a Preston fan is the hardest thing in the world, because every shirt and dressing gown and every bit of clothing that Dragon Ball sell is orange,
Like
because
mine.
Goku's
Like
gi is, yes, I'm talking, because Goku's gi is orange. It's not Blackpool, it's Dragon Ball. It's look, I'll just in case. Oh, sorry, mate. If you don't believe me, it's got, look. I'm not bullshitting. That doesn't say Blackpool. I promise. It doesn't say Blackpool. It says Wisdom.
Well, it is a Blackpool orange colour from their shirt.
It is a Blackpool colour, but it's not Blackpool, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because it's not Blackpool because there's no Blackpool shirt. There's no Blackpool dressing gowns.
There is, but if you ever bought one, I'd break your nose anyway.
What do you mean?
I'm joking. Right. Anyway, that's enough waffling from me for today. Incredibly frustrating day today. Incredibly frustrating result, and we're only due to get some more frustrating matches going forward, because, like I said, Bristol, Burnley, Sheffield are all top of the table teams. Our next 3 games are against top 3 teams. And then we've got Sunderland, which will be a bit of a mixed match one, but then we've got West Brom, which is also another top contender team, and Norwich. But in those games we do tend to be okay, so let's hope we can actually bring forward a decent result and performance those days. So yeah, no, Huddersfield are crap. So yeah, hopefully we'll bring something from those games, but I wouldn't count on it. I wouldn't be surprised if we're sitting towards the bottom of the table in 5 weeks' time. So let's hope in that time we can get these strikers going, or get anyone going, because I'll take any goal. Fuck it, Ryan. My phone's always on. Ridsdale and Ryan. If you need a right wing back or a striker, I'd be more than happy to fill the void. But I'd probably fit better as a wing back than a striker.